Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of The Monster's Den. What's going on, everybody at home? Today, we're going to talk about a single film. We're going to kind of rip it apart and tear it up and discuss it and what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it. It's just been released on 4K fairly recently. Let's introduce the crew first before we start doing that. We got Mr. Chris Allo, the King, is in the house. Jamie Laszlo is in the house, and Craig Kaminski is in the house. Howdy, gentlemen.
What's going on?
Doing?
Last Night in Soho is the film we're talking about tonight.
That's why I'm holding up my hands.
No 4K for you, Chris?
No, we'll talk about it, but that's a no.
Yeah, okay. All right, so this is a film directed by Edgar Wright, who some of you may remember did Shaun of the Dead way back when. Jesus, oh God, almost 20 years ago, Shaun of the Dead.
18 years.
Yeah, a long time ago. He also directed something more recently, Baby Driver, which a lot of people dug, kind of an action film. He's not really known as like a horror director. He's dabbled in like action and comedy films, although Shaun of the Dead is kind of like a comedy horror. This film right here is kind of like a psychological horror, kind of like a ghost story, sort of. It's very dreamy, kind of psychedelic film, very well acted. It's got a great cast. You got Anya Taylor-Joy. It seems like we're talking about her almost every week as of late. Plays a very cool role in this film. And then another really good actress who I liked a lot in this film, Thomasin McKenzie. Amongst all sorts of other people. There's other folks who you see throughout the film that you'll probably recognize, and but we'll get to that in a second. So let's start with Chris. So the reason I'm going to have Chris go first is I think Chris is the person who saw this film first. So last fall, Chris and Craig and I went to go to the Exhumed 24-hour horror fest in Pennsylvania. And, you know, the Sunday morning, I basically got up and drove 3 hours back home. Craig went home. He lives local. And Chris is like, I'm going to stay an extra day, get some rest, but also go to see this in the theater because it just opened up that week, I believe.
Yeah.
So I remember, you know, Chris was saying how afterwards I was asking Chris's opinion on the film, and that's where we'll kind of kick it off now. So Chris, your impression of Last Night in Soho?
Yeah, that's perfect, Pete. Yeah, I mean, it's the same. It's my experience was definitely different from everybody else's. You know, watching 14 movies in a row, and then you know, I took a nap and got up, took a shower, and went to the movies again. And I wanted to love Last Night in Soho because, yeah, I am bewitched by Anya Taylor-Joy. I think she's amazing. And, you know, there's things I definitely like about the movie. You know, I like the set design. I like the setting. I think the cast was great. I think the acting was great. But as a movie, did I love it? No. And I love the theater. I saw it at the Movie Tavern in Collegeville. You know, it was a big screen, but a small room, and the sound was blaring. You know, I'm not a 60s music guy, but I thought the 60s, you know, setup and the music and I really enjoyed it. I just think I was like, it just didn't do it for me. And I rewatched it 2 nights ago, and I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe last year, I was just fucking tired, man. I mean, I was up for like 30-something hours. Then I slept 2 hours, and I went back to the movies. And in rewatching it by myself at home, I'm like, no. I think I liked it even less the second time. I'm like, again, I'm sticking with, it looks great, it sounds great, cinematography is great, it looks like a bazillion bucks, but the fucking movie, I'm like, what's going on? Like, this is like a Giallo, but stupider than, and more poorly written than ever before? Like, action-wise, like, nobody even dies till like a fucking hour into the movie, and it's, you know, spoiler alert, you know, if you haven't seen this movie, it's all right. So it's Anya Taylor-Joy, but then we find out later, oh no, she really doesn't die. I'm like, so the Eloise character is like somehow connected to the Sandy character. She's the same. She's not the same. I'm like, the fuck is going on here? Like, and then, you know, like it takes forever to get to the horror part. And I'm like, what is this? What kind of movie is this? Is this a fucking period piece? Is this a coming of age drama? like, is this a horror movie? Like, what the fuck is going on? So in my second time viewing it, like I was a couple times, I was like, and I watched it by myself. I was like, ah, like, come on, let's go already. And I saw the ending coming a mile away, which I didn't like, and I still don't like. And spoiler alert, there's like, somebody gets poisoned, and that, I'm like, that gets completely fucking blown out the window. I'm like, wait, this character should be dead if she got poisoned. And again, I'm watching and I'm like, but that's not even mentioned. There's a lot of little things I didn't like. So yeah, that's why I'm like, it looks great, but I'm not buying the 4K. I streamed it, watched it a second time. I'll never watch it again.
All righty. Jamie.
I liked it more than that. I liked it enough to buy the shirt on a drunken Saturday night about 6 months ago. I think she looks awesome in this. I got a thing for chicks with that 60s hair. And when it's on her, I'm like, oh, man, that's awesome. So, yeah, that's why I bought the shirt, because she's on there with the 60s hair. But, yeah, I saw it in the theater, too. If not opening weekend, then later that week after opening weekend. And I sat there and I dug it. I thought, Edgar Wright, he's known for like these type of goofy movies, more or less, with a comedic element. But he did, like you said, Baby Driver. I love that movie. And there's a movie he did, Scott Pilgrim Saves the World.
Yeah.
That was that disaster in another director's hands. That was a weird movie to try to pull off. And I think it's been 10 years since I've seen it, but I remember thinking this guy is pulling this movie off. It's not as goofy as it could have been.
That one.
Yeah. So I think he does a good job with this. Yes. Are there things in it? I mean, why is this chick having the visions to begin with? I mean, they kind of say in the beginning, she's seeing visions of her mom. So maybe she has a gift and she goes to this apartment and the gift kind of, brings it out of her. I don't know. I don't care. I think Edgar Wright really upped his game with direction in this movie from all his other movies. The Thunderball scene, this scene, man, when she comes out and the city is like 1967 and you see that it's one of my favorite scenes of the last 10 years. It's a little like Wizard of Oz when Dorothy comes out of the black and white and walks into the colorful Oz, land of Oz. It reminds me of that. It's awesome. And does the ending. Here's the thing, though. When I watched it in the theater, I didn't pick up on it. But when I was watching it home a few days ago, I'm like, my God, this is Giallo. This is a Giallo movie.
Yeah.
I didn't catch it the first time. And if you look at the soundtrack, that is pure Giallo right there.
Yep. Oh,
pure.
yeah.
That looks like something from 1971 right there.
Yep.
So, yeah. And do you want to hear the worst thing that you'll hear all year? I was debating whether to say it or not. But this is what I thought when it hit me that this is Giallo. I was sitting right here watching and going, kind of wish Aloe was here, because I could say, Giallo? It's Giallo.
That's funny.
It's awful. My haters are going to hate me for that. They're going to, oh, this fucking asshole. That's fine. I get it. But I did think it. And I could have said it.
That's funny.
I wish Chris was with me more often too.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are too good to me.
It reminds me of when I saw Dunkirk in the theater. I remember thinking, I wish I saw this movie with a guy named Kirk so I could leave early and say, I'm Dunkirk. Get the fuck out of the theater. There you go. Another nasty comment. I smell it coming. But does the ending cheapen the first, like the last 10 minutes, does it cheapen the rest of the movie? Because I mean, you got this old lady, what's her name from Game of Thrones?
Anna Rigg.
Yeah.
Her last movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, before it came out. And I mean, they're kicking her in the knee. She's falling down the steps. She's coming back up. She's swinging and hitting people. They're going flying. She's stabbing people. Am I buying that?
Yeah.
No. At the end, she goes, save yourself and save the boy. The boy that you just stabbed like 3 minutes
Really
ago.
hard.
Yeah. I mean, talk about going heel the baby face. I'm like,
why? The only reason I got to save him is because you fucking stabbed him. So, but I love the build up to that so much. Also, when you find out why the guys are faceless, which is a good, nice little twist, why? Because she had to not think of them as the rapes were happening or whatever you want to call it. She blocked out their faces. Cool. But when they pick up the phone and say, help, I'm like,
But dude, what about she's poisoned? She's
and
like,
she's
yeah,
poisoned.
she's
And
like, you're poisoned, and we see the paramedics come.
yeah,
They put her on a stretcher, like nobody's pumping her stomach.
no, nobody's.
And
Yeah.
the next scene we see, she's totally fine. The boyfriend's
she
fine.
sweated out. She's just sweated out, I guess. I don't know. In the fire, she sweated out.
I guess.
I
mean,
yeah.
there is a scene that I noticed the second time where she's running up the stairs and she coughs and a little bit of liquid come out. But I'm like, oh, really? That's it? Like 10 minutes later, is that supposed to be the poison coming out of her system? I'm like, if that's it, it's fucking dumb.
Yeah. The movie's so smart until the last 10 minutes. Oh, the dance scene when it's going between the two characters, Anya Taylor-Joy and Mackenzie. Oh my God, it's so well done. And then you get to the last 10 minutes, you're like, damn it, they just dropped the ball. But yeah, I mean, overall, I like it. I'll probably watch it again someday. So yeah.
Cool. Great.
I never saw this prior to Sunday, this past Sunday, and I watched it. I streamed it on HBO Max, and I, as soon as I finished it, I thought it was all right. It was all right and kind of like nothing more. And I would probably say it's my least favorite Edgar Wright movie compared to Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim, World's End, or Baby Driver, which I think I preferred to all of those to this movie. Not to say that I didn't think this was bad. I enjoyed the costumes and the setting. The ladies in it look great. The main character, Thomason. I mean, you could kind of tell that she was, at the beginning, it's like, the little country mouse, and everything. And I was even a little sleepy while watching it, but then there's a part where she gets into her dorm or something and she takes off her jacket and I was like, whoa, country mouse has a rack on her. So it's like I kind of spruced up a little bit there. So but yeah, and I liked when she got when she changed her do to match Anya Taylor Sandy's hairdo. I like the parts where she was in school, with the friction that she had with the other girls, how they were talking about her the minute she left the room, or she goes into the restroom and she can hear them talking about her next door. But from seeing this movie, everything I saw, it said that it was labeled as a horror movie, and I would not consider this a horror movie. I would call it more of a suspense movie that happens to have some ghosts and some spooky parts in it, but I wouldn't go so far as to call it horror. I like the characters with the swinging 60s style to it, where you had Terrence Stamp and you had Diana Rigg in it, from who were known to be people on that scene in reality or in their work back at the time. So that was cool. The setting of her, just the little pubs that she's in and everything. I like that. I like the music, the dance scene where she rehearses and sings or auditions, and sings downtown a cappella, and she actually did that, to my understanding, in reality. That wasn't a stunt, a double doing that voice. But yeah, as you guys were saying, there was a few parts where it was kind of like, a little bit towards the end with everything. And I still was, again, I only saw this once, but I was still a little fuzzy with why was she actually even seeing these visions? I mean, they said her mother was someone in the fashion industry, but I don't know that she actually, I don't think that they actually said that her mother did her mother know Sandy, prior, at the time. I don't think they.
I think it was inferred that her mom also, had visions, and the mom had I don't want to say delusions, but had psychological problems, and the mother killed herself. So
Right.
I just assumed it was it ran in the family, I guess.
Okay. Like a Shining type thing,
Yeah.
where you can see things. But I did like it, but it's just I don't think it was. I mean, it was reasonably entertaining, but it's again, I wouldn't classify it as a horror movie, but it was a decent, decent enough 2 hours. But I think nothing. Like I said, it was all right, and nothing more, in my opinion.
Did it take you like about 3 or 4 minutes to realize that it's not taking place in the 60s? Because when
Yeah,
she's in her bedroom in the
yeah, because
beginning,
yeah, as soon as she was on the train, and then I think she looks at her phone or something.
yeah,
At first, I thought the same thing. I was because it was debatable, when does this take place? Because, like you said, she's playing an old record player and playing an old song. Even I think like the posters in her bedroom were vintage. You couldn't tell by her clothing. And then, of course, they say, well, she likes vintage, as compared to her school friends who were more modern and everything.
Yeah,
So
the one scene where she's at the party and she's listening to her music, and
she's listening to the
he thinks
Kinks.
that
Yeah,
she listens to the Kinks, right? And like, oh, what do you
yeah,
listen to all that old crap, you know?
oh,
right.
you know what I learned in this movie? I got my mind set on you was a cover.
Yeah,
George Harrison covered it. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
And I don't know how any of you guys felt, but obviously the movie takes place half the time in the 60s and half the time in the modern era. I wanted more in the 60s. I'm like, all right. I just
Yeah.
kept thinking, well, hurry up and get back to the Sandy and the 60s part, because I really don't care about the modern stuff. And the Ellie character was kind of annoying at times, I thought.
yeah. Where she was, her inner, or Anya Taylor-Joy, or Sandy's interactions with Matt Smith, were interesting and everything.
Yeah.
Out he was her manager boyfriend, and then he kind of dimes her out, and
Jack turned
you
into
know,
quite the dick, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
There's something about Annie Taylor Joy when she goes, "Beep," and she does it she does it right at the end too. Man, I don't know what it is, but it works.
but the other girl, once she kind of gets her uh extreme home makeover, and everything, where she's like all dolled up.
Right.
I thought, oh, here we go, game on.
She's
Now it's
cute. She's cute. I mean,
Yeah. She's
both
a pretty
female
girl.
leads
yeah,
are,
Yeah.
I thought both female leads did a great job in this film. And I think for me, I didn't know what to think of this film because I didn't see it in the theaters, and I had a whole conversation with Chris and asked him his kind of interpretation of the film, and he's like, yeah, he goes, you may or may not like it. I didn't really dig it that much, and so I held off on watching it for quite a while, and then when the 4K came out, I was like, I do want to see it, and I got a good deal on the 4K, so I said, screw it, I'm just going to buy it. So I bought it and I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. And then I rewatched it again just the other day, just to kind of get ready for this show, and I liked it as much, if not more. But I think, they played this film off to be kind of a horror film, and it, like you guys said, it really isn't.
Yeah.
It's a psychological thriller. It's got some light horror elements, but it's more like kind of like a drama with some suspense and some thriller aspects to it, and as such, and I think there are some giallo elements to it as well. um
And
do I wish
slasher a little bit at the end.
Oh yeah, that whole scene, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
great scene. As Chris said, give us more of that, right? But I thought it was extremely well acted. I wasn't bored by it at all. I really liked, like I said, I thought the two female leads were absolutely terrific, and I love when they kind of interacted with each other in a weird way. And again, you didn't really know what was going on because they're kind of like, like Ellie is kind of watching her. She sees her. She's constantly waking up in bed, and was it a dream? Am I seeing this? Is this real? And again, they never really explain like what is this, why is she seeing this stuff. That was a little frustrating for me. And yeah, the ending was you kind of had a feeling that Diana Rigg was going, spoiler alert, was going to be Sandy, right, as an older lady. And I think what I thought was kind of cool is that you never really had a full understanding of to what extent Sandy's character took out all of the shit on the Johns, right? Until the end of the film, where you finally realize that all these ghosts walking around. So she murdered a whole shitload of people who raped her and took advantage of her based
And
on.
put them all in the floor, though.
Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, I mean, and the last couple of minutes were a little kind of crazy, but I thought like the few scenes leading up to that were really good, and it's a gorgeous film. I mean, I love watching it. The dance sequence, like you mentioned before, just amazing, and Anya in that red dress.
Whew.
I mean, she looks so regal, and she looks like a star.
And the white coat, I dig the white coat.
Yep, yep. That
Did
hair.
you
I mean, she just, we talked about her recently in The Witch, and we talked about her recently in The Northman, and of course, she's doesn't look anything like she looks in this film. This film is just like, here I am, I'm a star, and
When she won me over? Queen's Gambit. Watching that with the wife, and about episode 4, I said, I decided she's hot as hell. Took me to episode 4 to decide, because she's got a weird look. It's kind of got to grow on you a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you guys see it? Did you guys see it coming? With now, Chris, you had mentioned about you kind of saw the ending.
When
coming.
she
Did you guys see it coming that Terrence Stamp was not present day Jack?
I was keeping
No.
it open.
Okay.
I didn't know, but I didn't know he was the cop. But I
Right.
did.
Yeah,
I
thought he was going
wasn't
to be
sure on
Jack.
that.
I really thought he was going to be Jack, as did Ellie, and so
Right.
that part got me. I had no idea he was the cop, the older cop.
Yeah.
General Zod, he was good in it, man.
Yeah.
I love it when he says, "I still am a ladies' man," in so many words. I thought that was a great scene.
But another thing, what's your guys' opinion on why do you think this movie didn't do too well? Because I mean, it kind of tanked.
Greg, this
I
movie,
mean,
it's not that it didn't do too well. This thing fucking bombed.
I mean, but
had
do you think it was like lack of star power, or like when it was released?
I mean, it could have been the time of year. It could have been people were still afraid because of COVID.
Yeah, I think so.
Because COVID was still fucking raging.
What month did it come out again? Like October,
Came
right?
out October,
November,
2021. Was it November? Okay.
Yeah.
Because we saw it.
Oh,
Whatever.
That was November 6th that we saw.
I was just gonna say, when did we go the 24-hour show?
It feels like a niche movie when I see it. It doesn't feel like it's going to make $1 billion.
But the marketing for this film, I mean, I saw commercials for this
Pete, I was
constantly.
just about to say that. There was fucking commercials for this constantly. Holy shit, they did. So of course we don't know what they spent on marketing and advertising, but the budget, it says, was 43 million, not including, could be 10 million, 20 million in market and advertising, and box office was only 23 million. Yeah. Like, woo, that is some executives lost their job on this fucking movie.
Do you guys think maybe any of it, though? I mean, sorry to say, do you think any of it is like Anya Taylor-Joy cannot carry a movie on her own, that she needs some help at this point?
Right. I don't know. It could be, I mean, is she as well known by the general public?
It's also one of those movies that maybe people felt, like the new Top Gun. People are racing to make sure they see it on IMAX. This is the kind of movie where a lot of people go, yeah, I want to see it. I'll stream it. I'll stream it in 3 months.
But with that budget, though, they had to figure that it's going to have something, some kind of.
I mean, maybe maybe they should have. I don't know. I think it was a little long, to be honest. I mean, I don't know, and I just think if you would have had a better script, maybe word of mouth would have helped it some. But I don't know. I mean, those numbers are really far off.
Well, especially for Edgar Wright. I mean, his movies did. I think they all did reasonably well, right? I mean.
I don't remember.
As far as I know.
It's funny because I always wanted to see Baby Driver, and
It's
I
really
did.
good.
True story. I went to see it in a local theater, and they told me the wrong theater, the wrong room. So I sit through all the trailers. The movie starts, and it's not Baby Driver. I can't remember the name, but it's that one, the movie with Charlize Theron, where she's kind of like a John Wick kind of assassin.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but me and my buddy, we were like, all right, we just sat and watched that, and that kind of sucked. So after it ended, we were like, we should have saw Baby Driver, which to this day I still haven't seen.
I haven't seen it either.
But I tried to see it.
It's a good action movie. Has lots of good dialogue, cool music in it as well, and it has some star
comedy
power.
in a Tarantino kind of way.
Yeah.
That one.
Although it missed the opportunity to have a criminally underrated Kiss song played during the movie, which it does not. So don't get your hopes up, Pete. You will not hear.
I figured as much. No,
you
nobody's
will not
putting Baby
hear,
Driver in the soundtrack.
Peter Criss singing "Baby Driver." So
No, not at all.
But yeah, I don't know, Craig. I don't know what they could have done to make more of a hit with this, but
And, you know, and seeing it twice,
have a rap soundtrack.
nah, I think that this was always going to be a niche film for a lot of people. I think, first of all, people were not going back to the theaters in droves last fall. They
Right.
weren't yet. That we really didn't start seeing that till probably a couple months ago, like maybe March of this year.
But you know,
Well,
Spider-Man
Spider-Man,
came out, and
you know.
Spider-Man fucking blew the doors open. That was a
Well, but
billion-dollar movie.
that's a mass appeal film.
That's an
But
event.
people did go back to the theater for that.
Yeah,
Maybe.
And you're right. This was not, you and Jamie. This was not a movie that people. This was not must-see TV or a must-see movie.
Maybe I can't remember the trailer, but maybe it was the trailer, the way they edited it. Maybe they made it look like some weird movie that, maybe they need to focus on the horror elements more. Oh, look at those faceless zombies.
'cause it wasn't-
Oh, we
it
gotta
wasn't-
go see this.
Jim,
And
it's
then
funny,
when they
it
were,
wasn't
"Where's the
obvious."
zombies? Oh, we got your
Yeah,
money.
it-
Doesn't matter now.
It wasn't obvious as that it was supposed to be a horror movie, whether it was to us, the viewers.
I thought it was a throwback '60s like art house film. And then when Chris said he was going to go see it, I'm like, why are you going to see that? Oh, you're probably going just for her. But then he's like, no, it's supposed to be kind of like sort of like a horror film. I'm like, really? Based on all those commercials I saw? I'm like,
Yeah, that's what they should have done.
Well, and it's funny, Jamie mentioned the trailer. I rewatched the trailer on HBO Max after rewatching the movie just to see how the trailer was, and I'm like, well, it doesn't exactly sell it as a horror movie, but it doesn't exactly sell it as a '60s piece. I'm like, just watching the trailer, I'm like, fuck is this movie about?
They needed to re-edit that. And you guys say it's not a horror movie. I would totally agree with you if those faceless zombies were not in it. As soon as they throw that in, going under horror for me.
yeah, it's got enough elements, I think, where it can kind of qualify. But I mean,
When you get the
you-
supernatural involved, that's no more thriller, no more drama. It's all horror to me.
Does the 4K or anything, does that have any deleted scenes that help anything with the story?
Like she spits out the poison.
Well,
Scene that they took out or something.
Anything. I mean, I didn't know.
There's a
Not
lot of
that I-
interviews with the cast and the creators, which are cool, and talk about their experience on the movie. But yeah, there's no like real kind of like
Cutscenes,
things that explain anything really.
Okay.
which apparently a lot of studios are really getting away from the
Yeah,
use of deleted scenes on discs, which sucks because I like them.
Yeah.
yeah, that was a big thing for a while, and now you
Yeah.
don't see a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I find that a lot of these special edition things that come out, they give you all this other stuff, but they don't give you any deleted scenes, extra scenes, and
Or fun menus. Remember when the menus were fun and kind of moved?
Yeah.
And what happened to that? Now it's just a poster and
Costs too much.
play. Yeah.
but yet they keep raising the prices of these things. So.
Well, and I was gonna say, people, you guys remember 20 years ago, DVDs were selling like hotcakes. Now, not so much.
I got a store down the street. They sell them for $1 each, and they probably got about 3,000 of them.
DVDs,
DVDs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can barely give them away, right?
but that's the
Oh,
thing.
Pete, they sell them. They sell them. A lot of people just don't give a shit. DVDs still outsell Blu-rays, right?
Right, and I was gonna. That's what I was gonna say. Blu-ray never matched the sales of DVD, and 4K sells less than Blu-ray. So it's a niche of a niche.
Since it's the machine the
Yeah.
device upgrade.
I can't watch a DVD. On some movies, it looks like shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Well,
watching a VHS.
It's hard nowadays because a lot of these streaming services are showing films in Blu-ray or 4K quality, and people are like, I don't need to own it because I can just turn on my streaming service. But if that streaming service ever ends, you ain't got shit. You can't watch it.
And not only that, Pete, not that the streaming service will end, but HBO Max pays to license a Last
They
Night in
lose rights to
Soho
things quickly.
for 6 months or a year or whatever, and then one day it's gonna mysteriously disappear from HBO Max.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch it, well, now you can't watch it unless you have the disc.
They could always drop the $5.99 on Google Play or
Absolutely.
something.
But even that, right? You don't actually
don't
own
know.
anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Or,
They
or,
could-
God forbid, if you buy it through your cable or satellite provider, I mean, it'll live on your DVR, but if something happens to that DVR, or if you have to switch it, it's gone.
And I've heard, I don't know which provider it is, but people have bought the digital copies and it's in their cloud or whatever, but then the studio loses the license, so they reach in and take it back out.
Oh wow! I didn't.
So
know
unless
about
you
that.
own the physical copy, you don't own shit.
Yeah.
Well,
I tell you what.
I know for a fact if you have it on your DVR, and if you upgrade to, let's say, a 4K service, I mean, they have to change the box. I mean, it's gone. They don't
Yeah.
they don't flip
Absolutely.
it over to the new box. I mean, it's gone.
And when I got them on my shelves here, all these movies, yeah, I'm not watching them once a month. I'm not listening to them like an album, but I sit here, I feel like I'm surrounded by history, film history, Laszlo history, movies I saw with my dad in the theater, silent films that are part of film history. It's just all kinds of history here.
Yeah.
I'm amongst it.
Yep. Yeah, there's you have to be, I don't want to just say the collector thing, because we're all collectors, but I think you have to
be the romantic.
Yeah, you have to love cinema, right? And film. I mean, it's just, I mean, I know a lot of people who like watching movies, but they're like, I never owned a film. If I want to go watch something, I'll find it somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, and I know a lot of people who they'll watch a film once, and even if they loved it, they'll never want to watch it again.
I already know what happens.
I was gonna say, I know people that love going to the movies. They love movies, but they go to the movies. They don't want to watch movies at home.
Right.
There's no reason for that.
But how do they catch up with older ones that's not in theater?
I guess they don't see them, or maybe they'll catch them, on cable. But to buy a movie, and that's unheard of. But it's like anything. I mean, Craig and Pete have a bazillion CDs behind them. Somebody that is an avid book reader that has a collection of books, rather than you just read books on your tablet.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, I brought someone in my home a few years ago, and he saw my CDs. First thing he said was, "Why?
Yeah.
Why?"
Yeah.
Right, because you could just stream it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But that's.
I had a buddy.
But if somebody walked in and saw that you had a library, they wouldn't say why.
Yeah.
I mean,
All those, listen, all of this stuff is, going the way. Modern kids, they don't fucking need any of this.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
When iTunes first came out, my buddy got his subscription. I went to his house. He said, "Dude, you're gonna love this. It's gonna change your life. Look at that. Any song you want, man." I said, "I fucking hate it. That's fucking cheating. That's cheating. You mean I spent all the 40 years collecting, but now you just have everything for $9.99 a month? Fuck you."
But he really doesn't have it.
I hate it. He was like shocked. I thought you'd love this. No,
Right.
I hate
He
it.
doesn't have anything. You're absolutely right, Chris. He doesn't
Doesn't
have
have anything though.
Yeah.
Because if they start pulling those songs that he likes, they're gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Or listen, when Skynet blows everything up and you've only got the shit in your house and all the networks are down and you're hanging out with John Connor and he's like, "Hey man, what do you got to watch?" Jamie be like, "Hey, let me grab this shit off the shelf."
That's right. I got Terminator 2 right over here. Hold on.
Let's watch Terminator Genesis and talk about how shitty that movie is. Man, we had to stretch this episode.
John
didn't we?
John Connor was killed in that movie. He doesn't even exist anymore.
Well, we'll just go back in time and get him then. But it's all good.
That's all. That's all. All right. Well, so I guess the verdict is we got 1 do not like, 1 it's okay, 2
I like it.
I think I liked it the most, I think, out of the 4 of us.
But I didn't hate it.
I liked it.
Like I said, I agreed with all you guys that it looks great. It sounds great. It's well acted. I'm just like, man, it just needed a better script. This is like, Rob Zombie can direct a movie, but he can't fucking write one.
Oh, let's dissect the monsters when that thing comes out.
That would involve me watching the monsters. No.
I almost want to see it.
I'd rather dissect myself than watch the monsters.
That might be the worst trailer I've ever seen in my life.
I think I'd rather watch the Winnie the Pooh kills Manhattan or whatever the hell it's called.
Blood and honey.
Blood and honey, whatever it is. Yeah. Oh man. All right. So there you have it, everybody. Our dissecting Last Night in Soho. If you have seen it, let us know what you think in the comments below. If you haven't checked it out yet, well, obviously you've gotten some spoilers, so you know what's going to happen in this film. But go enjoy it.
And, you know what doesn't happen in this film? Boobs.
Yeah.
I'm saying it. An R-rated horror movie, 2 beautiful leads, no, not one boob.
In bras, you get one in a bra.
Yeah.
That doesn't count. You could see that in a commercial.
In the J.C. Penney catalog.
Yeah.
But they're both absolutely gorgeous in this film.
Yes,
So,
yeah. Pretty ladies.
Good stuff. I enjoy it. So there you go. Last Night in Soho is our feature film of the day. So tune in next week. We'll have myself. We'll be joined by Mr. Dan Brown and Davey Gallagher. We're going to be dissecting an old 40s classic called The Spiral Staircase, which has a lot of really early elements that we later came to know as the both the Giallo and the slasher film genres. So we'll be talking about that next week. And coming up here on the channel, or on the Monsters Den, I should say, on the 22nd of September, it is September now, which is Mr. Kaminski's birthday.
Whoa!
Yes, that's right.
29? God bless you.
Plus 21.
We will be celebrating Craig's birthday with some drinks and ranking the Batman film series, or film franchise, I should say. So that'll be coming up on the 22nd, and we'll have some other things in between there as well. So stay tuned for all that and more. Also, probably in October, we're going to revisit Secret Satan once again. So we'll get everybody together to give each other secret films, and we'll do that. And also, we're going to be ranking the Hammer vampire films. And before we did this episode, we went and counted. It looks like there's 11 films. So we'll be doing that as well, probably sometime in early October. So stay tuned for all of that here on the Monsters Den. And also visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Do not forget, October 1st at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York is SOT Fall Fest. So join the 4 of us there, and other folks from the Hudson Valley Squares in the Proxy and the Monsters Den, and Friday morning, the Funhouse with Martin Popoff. And we will be in the afternoon. It's an all-day event. In the afternoon, we'll be recreating these panel shows live on stage. So you'll have in the Proxy show, Hudson Valley Squares, Friday morning at the Funhouse. Chris Caffrey from Sabotage and Trans-Siberian Orchestra will be in the house. Andy Powell from Wishbone Ash, Sonus Umbra, Luis Nasser's band, Epic Tantrum, prog band from upstate, as well as hard rock legend Pat Travers, hard rock legends Vanilla Fudge, and prog rock legends Nectar, all playing in the evening portion of this show. So October 1st, get your tickets now. We'll see you all there. Come hang out with the crew. And till next time, I am Pete Pardo for Chris Allo, Jamie Laszlo, and Craig Kaminski. We'll see you next week here on the Monsters Den. Take care.